Thanks very much, Lascian Corla. I'm moving Amendment 18, which is grouped in this group, and speaking to that and the wider grouping. But just before I get into the substantive issue, I do think it is important to again raise the process that's being followed here. A really important piece of legislation, about which there's fundamental disagreements in terms of to what extent it will or will not contribute to our country's energy security, and it is being rushed through this House in both committee and report stage in 2 hours. There is no need for this bill to be rushed in this way, and I think it's unprecedented, certainly in this stall, to see this legislation and another piece of legislation coming in 2 hours' time being rushed in this way. And this particular piece of legislation, it is going to lock us into the use of LNG into our energy mix. It has long-term consequences. The consequences of this bill will be felt up to 2050. So for a bill that has a 25-year timeline, we're getting 2 hours of debate. I think it is just important to put that on the record. A large set of amendments, detailed amendments. This isn't filibustering. These are detailed, researched amendments that are being put forward by the opposition. Some of them advised to us by environmental groups. The environmental groups minister that wanted to meet you, wanted to engage with you on this particular piece of legislation, but you weren't available. So this is the ability for legislation to be strengthened, and we're not getting that ability. And it is, when committee and report is banged in together, it's a government not taking the issue seriously. I think it is really important to put that on the record of the House today. And in particular, the idea that a brand new piece of fossil fuel infrastructure would be exempted from the application of the Climate Act. It makes a mockery of our country's statements that we take climate action seriously. In the context of the particular grouping, I've put forward Amendment 18, and I just want to read the first two sections of it. The change to 7.1 would say, the designated strategic gas reserve, including any terminal, infrastructure or facility developed under this Act, shall remain exclusively in public ownership and under state control, and shall be not transferred or outsourced in whole or in part to any private commercial entity. And the second element, the facility shall be operated solely by a designated public body for emergency energy security purposes, and shall not be utilised for commercial trading of gas supplies by any private enterprise. And what my amendment is trying to do here is to put copper fasten into this bill the things that you, Minister, have been saying throughout the debate around this legislation, that it will absolutely be a publicly owned entity, and it will absolutely only be used for emergency purposes and will not have a commercial element to it. And that's been said throughout this process. But it's not in the bill anywhere. And we're trying to put it into the bill anywhere. We're trying to bring a reasoned amendment here on this particular point. It is essential that this legislation and this facility, if it does go ahead, doesn't contribute to additional net use of gas in the system. And in order to secure that, the facility needs to be highly controlled. And how do we do that? We ensure that in the legislation, the gas that would be stored in this reserve wouldn't be traded, wouldn't be sent out to any other body, that this supply of gas should be solely for emergency purposes. And it should only be an extreme emergency. It should be the type of situation, that doomsday scenario that is spoken about time and time again, an attack on the undersea gas pipeline between Scotland and Northern Ireland. And we must also ensure that in a case like that, in such a large energy emergency, it isn't the large energy users that seem to get so much precedence within the department these days. They're not the people who are going to benefit. They should be asked to cut their consumption at that time in the case of an emergency like that. And in order to achieve these objectives, the legislation needs to be changed to clearly articulate that it is state-owned, state-run, and that there's clear controls put in there for the Commission of the Regulation of Utilities. And by accepting this amendment, my amendment, or some of the similar amendments proposed by other deputies, Minister, you could go at least some of the way to reassuring the concerns that have been raised by opposition deputies, by NGOs who have raised these issues about the operation of the facility, and you will actually be I suppose, guaranteeing the political points that you've made throughout this argument, that it is going to be publicly controlled. If it is, say it. Say it in the legislation. If it's not going to add to the overall supply of gas, say it. Put it into the legislation. So, look, Minister, we'll listen to your response to this set of amendments, but I can't see why these basic levels of protection wouldn't be codified within the bill.